Town Manager Tom Lynch lays out plans for his last 6 months working with the town of Barnstable. And we find out what's happening this week for the Barnstable Police Department during our chat with Police Chief Paul McDonald. On this episode of Barnstable Today, it's Tuesday, January 12th, 2015. I'm Sarah Mannel. Looking toward the future, Town Manager Tom Lynch has set forth a 16-item list of priorities for the final 6 months of his leadership with the town of Barnstable.
Since my contract ends on June 30th, I wanted to, I know how quickly that time can go by, so I wanted to be sure that the council knew, town council knew those areas I'd be able to focus on, hoping to get all this done, or at least, you know, that component that I should have in place for whoever comes on next in the next leadership team. And I put these action plans, if you will, together with the idea that I wanted to have a primary goal of making sure that there's financial flexibility for the next leadership team that'll be in place, so that they'll be able to institute you know, their vision and areas that they'd like to be able to focus on, because you know, quite frankly, there'd be a lot of ways where I could obligate funding over the next 2 to 3 years, and I don't want to put someone in that position where they're not able to react to items that they feel should be emphasized, as opposed to the ones that we have been putting in place.
Priorities include the capital and operating budgets, e-permitting, housing development, and the continued environmental assessment of the shooting range, as well as several streetscape plans. The police department will receive $50,000 in grants. To learn more about that and also about some recent incidents that occurred, Barnstable This Morning host Sarah Colvin chats with Police Chief Paul McDonald.
Chief, I want to start out, we've been talking a little bit this morning about the grants that the department has been received, several grants totaling about $50,000. Talk to me a little bit about what we are getting, or what the department is getting, rather.
Well, we got notified last week. Actually, we got notified on the same day for all 5 grants. The first one we got was a $16,000 grant from the state to purchase Narcan. $15,000 of that will go directly to the purchase of Narcan for the cruises, and $1,000 will go towards education. With the youth group, we want to provide $1,000 for education brochures for them, and also for the Adopt a School program. The purchase of Narcan, now from what I understand, you're purchasing through the state. The price when we originally bought it was $40, then went up to $70, and if we purchase through the state, we're going to be able to purchase Narcan for $20 per kit. So we'll be able to, this $15,000 should last us quite some time.
Wonderful.
The other grants, we got the underage alcohol enforcement grant, which is for $9,960. The pedestrian and bicycle safety grant for $4,980. The traffic enforcement grant for $6,000, and then the emergency management performance grant, which is for $14,460. And that's because part of my job is the emergency management director, and most of that money, not all that money, will be used to purchase new portable radios for the police officers. Our portable radios are being outdated, and they have to be replaced. And over the last 4 or 5 years, we've been slowly but surely replacing them. We have to buy 117 of them, and they cost about $2,500 a piece. So they are expensive and cost a lot of money. But so far, we've purchased about 33 radios. So we're well on our way to getting them all replaced.
Indeed, and I would imagine, as you say, that the technology really kind of evolves rapidly with those handheld radios, and such an important part of communication for the department.
Well, that's huge. Yeah, we met with town management earlier for a long-term goal is to replace our radio system. That's going to be quite expensive. You know, the base station alone will cost about $400,000 to $500,000. But the portable radios, you know, each officer has one, and because the state is changing from the analog system to the digital system, everybody has to upgrade their radio system. So we're a little bit ahead of the curve. We've been doing it for the last 4 or 5 years, at least with the portable radios.
Absolutely, and really I have to say excellent work by your Finance and Support Services Director, Ann Spillane, who's just a wizard at grant writing.
She does a great job. You know, we have a bunch of guys here. They're always looking for new grants, and when they find something, they always bring it to Ann, and Ann does the final research, and she actually writes the grant, and she's been incredibly successful. So she does a great job.
Great. Well, congratulations to the team for getting those grants. I know that we'll have some important work to be done with those funds. Chief, wanted to talk about a couple of incidents that occurred over the past week. First, we heard about a larceny at Kmart. What can you tell me about this particular case?
Last January 7th, gentleman walked into Kmart, went down to the jewelry department, and they have one of these displays, these glass displays up top there. It holds a bunch of jewelry, and the jewelry is valued at approximately $10,000, but it's secured to the counter, with a rather thick wire. The gentleman went in with some wire cutters. He cut the wire and just simply picked it up, put it in his carriage, rolled it out the front door, and drove off with it. They do have video of him. A couple of officers responded. They saw the video, and about 2 hours later, one of the officers on patrol recognized the individual driving on East Main Street. Subsequently, they made the motor vehicle stop. They identified the individual as 65-year-old James Anderson, who has a long record with us. In the vehicle, they found the wire cutters, and they found a substantial amount of the jewelry still in his possession. So he ended up being arrested for larceny, over $250, and he was arraigned the following day.
Indeed, and was wearing some distinctive clothing. We just showed his picture up there on the screen.
Yeah.
And did he do this while the store was open?
While the store was open, and when he was stopped in the motor vehicle stop, he was operating, and he still had that winter cap on with the selfie, which was easily identifiable.
Absolutely. So pretty bold, I think, to go into a store when it's wide open and use some bolt cutters and walk out with a carriage. Pretty amazing, but again, a pretty easy job for you guys to catch him. So what is going on with him now?
Well, he was arraigned. He was released on bail. His pretrial is set for next month, and they look him up for trial. But I believe we've had at least 78 different dealings with him. So he's been around for a while. But he is 65 years old. If he is found guilty, we don't expect him to do much time.
Indeed. Let's talk, Chief, a little bit about a crash that happened in Osterville where a Hyannis man abandoned his vehicle. What happened here?
I'm not familiar with that accent. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. No worries. What else do we have going on over the past week, Chief? Anything significant?
Well, the other significant thing is last night we graduated the Citizens Police Academy. Last week was the kind of a milestone. We graduated the 28th Citizens Police Academy, and I think that brought us up to just under 1,100 residents have gone through the academy. So it's really been quite successful, and we have 32 new good ambassadors for the BPD that graduated last night. So that was a good night for us.
Absolutely, and I know, Chief, that is one of the most popular things going in town is the police academy, and you've gotten so many volunteers through that, and people really, I think, I've talked to some of the graduates, and they really gain an insight that you can't get anywhere else. Learn so much about the daily operations of the police department and really the challenges that you have to face. Certainly not anything that you'd know, even just by being a regular citizen.
Yep, and that is so true. We are so dependent on the volunteers. We have almost 60 volunteers that work at the headquarters in the two substations, and without those volunteers, we could never keep those substations open. We have 60, and the way we get them is through the academy, where they have the knowledge, they bring that knowledge, and they go out and they be the ambassadors for us, and they do an outstanding job for us.
I know that there's a charity hockey game coming up at the end of the month at the Hyannis Youth and Community Center to raise some funds for a patrolman. What can you tell me about this, the charity hockey game?
Dennis Stanfield, he's worked for us for the past 7 years. Prior to that, he worked for a number of years for the Sheriff's Department. He was a sergeant with the Sheriff's Department before he came over to work for us. He's been battling an illness for the past several months. He's been in and out of some pretty intensive treatment, and he's running out of sick time here with us. So the Sheriff's Department with the BPD, they got together and they're having a fundraiser, a hockey game where the BPD faces off against the Barnstable Sheriff's Department with an auction afterwards. So we're looking forward to it. It'll be Sunday, January 31st, and we hope to raise some money to help Dennis out through the next couple of months. It's going to be a tough time for him and his family.
Be sure to tune in to our hour-long news program, Barnstable This Morning, weekdays at 8 a.m. On tomorrow's show, we'll talk with Cape Cod Chamber of Commerce CEO Wendy Northcross. We'll find out what's happening at the Barnstable Senior Center, plus we'll have all the news and information you need. For Barnstable Today, I'm Sarah Mannel.